How to make an Android app, Part 1. Setting up your debug devices. First things first, we need to come over and open up the SDK Manager, Virtual Device Manager, and we need to create a virtual device. And I'm going to use the virtual device menu to show you how to set up your phone. I covered this in a previous tutorial on the installation of all of the software at the end, but we're going to cover this again. Once your SDK Manager opens up, just go over to Virtual Devices. In your Virtual Devices window, you'll have a list of all of the virtual devices you've created. As you can see, I already have one set up, but we're going to show you how to make one right now. What you do is you come over to New, press New, and the Create New Android Virtual Device wizard pops up. What we have to do is tell it what we want. So what we're going to do is first we're going to select the name, and for this tutorial I'm going to select my fake phone. You can set it to whatever you want. You can set it to Droid or your name, your dog's name if you want. Just something so you recognize what the emulator you just made. Next you come down to Target. You're going to set your target to whatever SDK version, platform, or API level you're developing for. For this tutorial we're going to use Android 2.2. Next you go down to SD memory card size. Set that to whatever you want. If you choose, sometimes if you set the wrong numbers inside the size, sometimes you'll get an error. If you do, just close it out and then come back and put in a different value if you want to set a different size. Next you go down to skin and you set the size of the resolution. You set your resolution. If you want to change it to something different, you could just leave it to default WVGA 800 for right now. That's what I use. I have a HTC Evo, and it works perfectly. If you need something different, you could change it. You don't need to touch anything else inside this window. Right now, all you have to do is just press Create AVD, and your Android virtual device, your emulator, will be started. And once you see this window, you could just click OK. That'll take you back to the Android SDK AVD Manager. And you can see right here now in the list you have the virtual device. Whatever the name you chose should be inside of that list. And you could create as many virtual devices as you want to develop for, as you want to emulate. What we're going to do now is we're going to set it up so you can see what it looks like. So you're going to select it and then come over to Start. Once you hit Start, your launch options pop up. It'll show you the skin size, what we set it to the default, your pixel density set to high. We're going to change the, we're going to scale to real size. So you check that box. And then in screen size, in inches, set it to however big you want the emulator to be. For my screen resolution, I've seen the 6 and 7 works for me. I'm going to set it to 7 for right now, but you can set it to whatever you want. If you set it to 3, it'll come out real small, like 3 inches, it'll come out small. If you need it bigger, you can just set the size again and come to edit. So what you can do now is just press launch, and it will start up your virtual device. You get a couple of windows that'll pop up, your Java windows, getting everything set up, and as you can see, your virtual device is starting to initialize. This is going to take a little while, so I'm going to just skip forward to the next loading page so you can see what it looks like. Okay, and you can see once your virtual device initializes, you can see it's a vanilla ROM of whatever SDK version you're developing for. So as you can see, this is what the plain Jane layout of SDK 2.2 Froyo looks like. The emulator has the basic buttons that you would find on your hardware device. You got your home button, your menu, your back button, your search. Call will initiate the call menu, but you won't actually be able to call anybody, and the camera doesn't work. The volume, you have your power button, you have your keyboard. You could drag the screen over to the side. You can drag the screen over to the side, you can see. It's kind of funky the way you have to do it, but well, let me see. You could just come over here and just click the side buttons to change the window, and you can see you could scroll through your different pages, and you can also hit applications, and it'll pull up your apps. You see you got your music app, phone, email, browser. This is all the basic stuff that comes with Android without any manufacturer junkware. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how to set up your hardware device, but I'm going to use this emulator right here, and the menu layout is going to be the same. On your hardware device, your actual phone, or whatever device you're developing for, what you're going to do is you're going to press menu when you're at the home screen. Make sure you're at the home screen, press menu, because we need to get to the settings. You'll go to settings. Once the settings window pop up, first thing you need to do is go over to applications. That's where we need to do everything at. First, two things we need to check is you need to make sure that the unknown sources box is checked off. It should start off unchecked. This is going to allow you to install applications that you did not get from the Android market. Normally it's unchecked. You just check it, you'll get an alert. An alert is going to say your phone and personal data are more vulnerable to attack by applications from unknown sources. You agree that you are solely responsible for any damage to your phone or loss of data that may result from using these applications. That's basically telling you that when you have unknown sources checked, applications that did not come from the Android market, that they didn't verify, are untrusted. Do you want to allow that? Yes, you do, because that's what you're going to be doing when you're making your applications. You're going to be putting applications on your phone that are not from the Android market. So next, you come over to development. Remember, this is all supposed to be done on your hardware device. This will already be checked off on your emulator, so you don't need to check this. But on your hardware device, your phone that you're holding in your hand, you need to make sure that these options are checked off. Inside of development, you go over to USB debugging. Debug mode when USB is connected. Normally it's unchecked. When you come to this menu, just check it, and you'll get an alert that says allow USB debugging. It's going to ask you if you want to allow it. It'll say USB debugging is intended for development purposes only. It can be used to copy data between your computer and your device, install applications on your device without notification, and read log data. That is everything that you want Eclipse to do with your phone when you're debugging. So yes, you want to do that. You'll also be familiar with this alert and setting up USB debugging if you rooted your phone. You can leave the rest of these on your actual hardware device. You should check these when you're debugging, but remember, when you're not debugging or developing apps for your phone, you should turn all of these options off. When you set up USB debugging, in the notification bar on your actual device, you should see a triangle with an exclamation point. That's going to be the USB debugging symbol. You should see that, and once you connect your USB, it'll be right next to the USB icon of when you connect your phone. What you're going to do when you connect your phone, you don't have to put it in disk drive mode, and you don't have to put it in tether mode. Just plug it in USB like you were trying to charge off of the USB, but not transfer any files. You just want to plug it in USB, set it to charge only, USB charge, and you'll get your USB icon in the notification bar, and you'll also have your USB debugging icon. Once you have those two icons up and your computer recognizes your phone or recognizes your hardware device, you'll be set up, and now we can go over and start up a project. Once you have this set up, you don't have to go through this every time you're setting up a project. On your hardware device, you might have to check off those options, but inside of the emulator, once you start up the emulator, all you have to do is just come to start. You don't have to create one for every project. You only need to create a new virtual device for every time you're going to develop for a different platform, or you want to get different settings. But for right now, we have a virtual device. This is the My Fake Phone. You can see right here, the My Fake Phone virtual device, your emulator, My Fake Phone. That's what we just did. Now just come back over to home, and yeah, that's it for right now. I'm gonna stop right now, and I'm gonna go get a clip started up and get ready for the next tutorial, which is gonna actually start up an application, and then I'll show you what you need to do next to debug your application. But for right now, you just took care of everything for this tutorial.